acknowledge you at the end. I love you. Okay. So let me take off this. We're going into power hour. We're in power hour right now, which is really power 10 minutes. Let me remove everything from here. I'm removing it all so that you don't see shit except Audacity. Well, actually, I'll put that back up. Okay. If you want this program, you can go to audacityteam.org. It is absolutely free. They do free updates. It's amazing. It's simple, it's easy. If you're a sound person or somebody who is cultured in making music online and this is a thing you do all the time, that is fantastic. I'm happy for you. I realize this is utter shit compared to Ableton, Fruity Loops, whatever the fuck you use. Fine. Get that. This is simple. This is easy. This is just for a few purposes. So if you want that, it's audacityteam.org. I will put it in the description. We're moving on. Now, once you get the program, you open it, you can pull up waves. Wave files are on the newer Audacity, I think you can do MP3s. You can export as MP3s. In this instance, we're doing a sound wave. So what I'm going to do is I popped a phone call in here. This is from Rock Chalk True Crimes channel. This is actually a phone call I analyzed live on her channel. I could not find it. Otherwise, I would have just referenced it and you guys could watch that. If she does have it up, I will link it below. I need to contact her to find out where. She had me analyze this because she wanted to know, there was some debate in her chat, if this was one person or two people who were, I wouldn't even say prank calling her. They were calling and threatening her in a way. Because they were, I say in a way, because it was just a threatening phone call from people in the Oklahoma cases with Jillian Butler and Veronica, who went missing, the two moms. So basically, she was getting these calls. People were saying, obviously, it's two women. And other people were saying, it might be the same person. It sounds like the same. She had a theory that it was Granny Tiff herself and possibly a younger person. To me, it was kind of obvious that it was two, but we wanted confirmation. People were like, well, we're not going to believe it till we see some proof. So we were talking about, how one could prove that. And I explained, well, it's actually kind of easy because they have such different tones and pitches. So what I did was I made a video for Rock, just like the one I'm showing you here. I'm going to walk through it. It's going to take about 2 minutes, but you're going to be able to slow it down and do it yourself with any other audio. First, I want to go over, what is this good for? How can we use this in crime? Stalking. Do you have a stalker? Are they calling you constantly? Are you trying to figure out if it is someone that you know? Do you have a different voice recording or perhaps a TikTok of this person or any video of them talking who you suspect? Do you want to compare their voice to the person calling you or stalking you? Countless times, this has been used to decipher, not just Audacity specifically, but the technique and the method, which you could really do in any other program, but this is the easiest one. You can also use it to separate CCTV audio. If you have audio, but the people are off camera, or perhaps it's blurry, you can't see who's talking, this method can be used for that. Last, Zodiac Killer, Rex, Weepy Voice Killer. What do they have in common? They called the victims' families. Bobby Joe Long, I believe. No, it wasn't Bobby Joe Long. It was the other guy that Douglas worked with, Glenn. So they all would call in, and there were times when there was a Zodiac copycat who would call in and pretend to be the Zodiac, including on that infamous talk show segment. That wasn't actually him. That was a guy in a psych ward. That was not him. One of the ways that we can determine, is this person actually the same, let's say, Zodiac or Rex that called so-and-so sister or mother or cousin? You can do it through tonal and pitch identification using various types of software. It doesn't always work if they are very close in the same pitch and tone. I'll warn you on that. But you can also use it to clean up audio. For example, in the Delphi case, remember all the wind down the hill? You can take that out. You can use a noise reduction setting. There are things that you can do to clean up audio, and there are things you can do to decipher different voices, different tones, different pitches that can be used in various true crime situations. Those are just a few examples. I think the most common one it can be used for is probably the stalking, identifying someone who's prank calling you or giving you a hard time. Maybe someone threatened you and you got their voice and you're not sure, is this my ex? If you have old footage of them, again, you need something to compare it to. But in the case of just separating who's talking, that's what we're going to use this for, because this was a semi-unique situation, but it's a really great example of how this shit can be used. So first thing we're going to do, when you import, if it is on a setting where you're stereo versus mono, it's going to change how it looks. In one instance, it will be one of these. In another, it'll be two. They separate it, right? So what we're going to do, I've already imported the track. You could just do that by coming over here, selecting import, boom. So we're going to come over here and we're going to mix it because we want it mono. Right now, it is stereo. So now it is down to mono. Now I'm going to come back to the comments because I need you to put a 1 in the chat if you can hear this. You should be hearing Rock Chalk True Crime pop up. Tell me if you can hear her voice.
You myself, how fun.
1 in the chat if you
This is so
can hear her. Also, Kraken Studio. Yes, I have. The problem is a lot of it is shitty. The AI is so terrible. It's really bad. Like, it's wrong a lot of the time. That's why during the Sebastian case for the photo ones, I was like, this is ridiculous, because they were using all these free ones that have like the worst rating, not very many people using it, and then the best ones have a really shitty rating too. So even if they paid for it, it's like still not going to be as good. And also, I think it's important for us to get a visual. I think that it helps kind of hone our skills. But you know how people say, like, I won't believe it till I see it. I think that this helps with that a lot. Giving people a visual, especially if you're talking to a jury, I would imagine being able to show them exactly what the differences are in a way, musically, scientifically. I think that that's more important, because if an AI just tells them, then in a way that can also sway future juries that think AIs are always dead ass, and they aren't. You know, they might notice a trend or pattern in specific ways of speaking that don't actually apply to tone and pitch, and then it'll feed you back that info. So I prefer to personally do it this way, but I think in 10 to 15 years, yeah, AI is going to be totally on point. I know that there are some programs you can buy that are insanely expensive that'll do that, but we ain't got time for that. So, okay, back to this. So now what we have is we have this going. It's ready to go. You guys can hear it. That's great. What I want to do is I'm going to, and I could go all day with a tutorial on this. We're just going to do what's essential.
Now, I'm going to assume that you're going to be
So that's Rock
not
talking to the
some
caller.
crazy stuff here. I
Now
don't mind hearing what
we
you got to
just want the
say,
caller.
and hopefully it's good. But even if it's bad,
I'm going to pause this so I can zoom in like this. I can go right here. Boom. So I'm just going to take this and delete it. I'll show you guys how to do that later. But basically, you can delete chunks using this part or this part. Let's play it again.
It's been really confusing with all the family members and everything. Trying to figure out who's who, but it just seems like a lot of the stuff that's getting posted is like slander. It just doesn't seem backed by evidence. Like, I'm not seeing a lot of credible sources.
Boom, we'll stop right there. Credible sources. All right. I am going to take this and I'm going to copy and paste, which is CTRL-D, duplicate. All right. So now this is actually going to be way louder. Be careful with your ears.
It's been really confusing with all the family members and everything.
Because I doubled the audio. So that doubles the volume pretty much. So now we're going to come over here. I'm going to show you. Now I've already listened to this whole call. So I'm just going to show you the end when the other person comes in.
So with these court cases, did you ever see that Veronica's brother molested those kids? Did you see that?
Jesus. All right. So we're just going to do right here because we got that far, right? So let's copy that. So now we have two different ones. Now let's get rid of this first one completely because we have the two voices that we need to analyze, right? So now I'm going to take this, I'm going to copy it, or you can highlight it, you can drag it. I'm just going to copy it, bring it right up here next to this. And then I'm going to take it, and in a minute, I'm going to drag this under so that we can get a different visual. So I'm keeping this here, but I'm going to mute it. All right. So now these two are different voices. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in to show you something. All right. And actually, all right. So right here, I'm just selecting this chunk, the first chunk. I'm going to go to Analyze. All right. Well, actually, no, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to Tools. Wait, where the fuck did they move it? Oh, they moved it to Effect. Sorry. I'm going to Effect. And I'm going to go to Change Pitch. Why am I going to change pitch? Because when you do that, it gives you what the pitch of the original voice is. In this case, it's an F. So this chunk of audio, the pitch is F. All right. Ignore what you want to change it to. That's up to you. We're just looking here. Pitch is F, right? Cancel. Now we're going to come highlight this one. Effect. Change pitch. Do you see the pitch here? D sharp, E flat. Totally different pitch. In this instance, I would just stop and go case closed. There's not much you can do to change that without using a voice alteration device. And even if you do, it doesn't typically change the pitch so much as it puts an effect on it, if that makes sense. So at this point, I could tell Rock Chalk right away, oh, look, let me show you. This pitch is F. This pitch, and I actually just changed it. So let me go CTRL Z. If you ever want to backtrack, you can see it physically move. Let me show you something else. Right here, listen to this. Do you see how that is like a little long oval? Watch this. That's her taking a breath. That's how she breathes. Most people breathe the same almost every time. So if I were going through, by the way, Granny Tiff from the Oklahoma Devil's Rejects folks, if I were going through hers and looking at audio of her talking, anytime I saw something that was long like that, I would assume that's a breath. And most of the time, get it right. See this right here? This is possibly a partial breath. Let's see. Yep. That's like right after you talk and you go blah, 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 da, 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 da. This is her getting ready to fucking let out a tirade. Like, okay, hear me. Does that make sense? Now over here, let's take a look at this bitch's breath.
Just
Oh, that's not a breath. See how I thought it was? Because it looks kind of like Granny Tiff's. So this person saying just is about the same audio as Granny Tiff breathing. See if we can hear some more breaths from her. Any of them.
trying to figure out who's who, but it just seems like a lot of the stuff that's getting posted is like slander. It just doesn't seem backed by evidence. Like, I'm not seeing a lot of credible sources.
Okay, so she just doesn't fucking breathe, I guess. I remember cleaning this up. I know there's more of her talking, so I know she breathes in that. But I think the best way to show you a visual is to let's zoom in here. So see how thin it looks now? This is stretching it out. So I can typically tell.
So with these court cases, did
Where
you
breath
did
is.
you ever see that Veronica's molested those
Coming up.
kids? Did you see that?
See how you didn't even hear it there?
Molested those kids? Did you see?
See that? It's so fast. That's why we take it and we take little parts and we listen. Like, listen to this. That is someone in the background. What if I wanted to enhance that and hear what that is? I would take this. I would go to Effect and I would go to Amplify and see how it naturally amplifies it to be as loud as the rest. That's typically overdoing it. So I'm going to do 25, which is see how little that is? 25 times the volume it originally was. Now watch. Now we can hear it louder. This is exactly how they likely did the Down the Hill audio when they wanted to enhance it. And then I can hit CTRL-R and repeat that. Now, does it fit in with the rest? Cover your ears.
So with these,
That's not her. That's probably a dog barking, actually. Interesting, huh? So, that's one way. Another way is we can take this and we can, here's my favorite. This is the easiest. Check that out. Do you see the difference, how wide that is and how short that is? This isn't even touching. This is touching. Those are two different people talking. Look at the lows and the mids and the highs. It's completely different. And the further you zoom out, the more obvious it becomes. Different people. Visually, this is longer. This is shorter. Now I could go into the dynamics of that. That would be a 30-minute symposium. I don't have the time. I am not John Ray. If you thought you heard a dog bark, good job. You're fucking wicked smart genius. And I love you kids, and you're the best. That's literally it. That's it. We did it. We absolutely did it. We knocked it out in 10 minutes. I cannot believe that. Now, I have so much to say about that case. I think it was piss poor how they treated your girl Rock. I want you to go support Rock Chalk, and I will put her info below. I will find that old video if it's still up. She may have taken it down for privacy reasons. If it's still up, I'll put a link to it. I wanted to do this quickie with you. This sounds bad. I'm not going to say I wanted to do a quickie with you because I'm your dad. That sounds bad. I don't want that audio isolated. Fuck. I just said it again. All right, great. Anyway, we're fucking done skis, you guys. Not forever. Dad's going back to get